The body is like a vehicle. It's like some people are, the body is a vehicle. The mind is like a subtle form of a vehicle. There's an analogy that the body is like a chariot, and the five senses are like the five horses that are pulling the chariot. And the reins, the straps that are meant to control the horses, is the mind. And the intelligence is the chariot driver that's supposed to be controlling the mind, and through the mind, the senses. And the true self, the Atma, is the passenger. Now, harmony means when the intelligence is driving the chariot according to where the passenger wants it to go. Otherwise, what happens is where the senses want to go, that's where the chariot goes. That's what commonly happens in this world. But we should actually, yoga means to harmonize the senses, the body, the mind, and the intelligence with the true wish, the true will, and benefit of the soul, the Atma. So the body is like a vehicle. We're temporarily in it. Death means we go out of this vehicle. At the time of death, all the components of the body are there, the hands and the eyes and the heart and the brain, but nothing's working because there's no one home. Immediately after death, the person may look exactly the same, but we cry because we know the person's gone. So it's obvious at that moment that the person we loved is different than the body. The person was in the body. And the body's sacred because it's through this body that the person can express him or herself. And it's through this body that we can relate to that spiritual being. So death is an emotional thing, even for spiritual people. Spiritual people often cry when they lose a loved one, but it's not in ignorance. They know that that person has not ceased to exist. That person has just moved on to another vehicle. But this particular vehicle was the vehicle that I could so wonderfully relate to, and that's gone. So we're happy for the person, but there can be a sadness that interaction that we had is no longer. That's a sadness in knowledge. And that sadness could be an expression of love and knowledge rather than love and ignorance. So this body is a temporary vehicle, and the vehicle should take us where we want it to go. Yes? So we have to know where we want to go. And then the vehicle is a very, very valuable thing. Today I drove here to the Arlington Yoga Studio in, what kind of car you have? It's a Toyota Sienna. So we drove in this Toyota Sienna. Now, I'm not a Toyota Sienna. But it took me to the place I wanted to go, to be with Michelle and Marinda and all the rest of you, and it's beautiful. So it was in harmony with what was good for me and how I can serve you. So that's the type of harmony that yoga brings about. That this body and this mind, which are temporary, are utilized for a sacred purpose. And we should take care of the body and mind. Part of Hatha Yoga is to have a healthy, flexible body, which is very good, especially when the real purpose of yoga is there, that healthy, nice body that we have is effectively and efficiently serving the will of God. the will of the soul. My friend Gary, who I began my journey with, at one point I hadn't seen him in 18 years. Did any of you get to that part of the book yet? I hadn't seen him in 18 years. There was no communication. Because we were in a cave together in the Himalayas, and then I had to leave because my visa was expiring. And I don't know what happened to him, and I had no idea where to reach him. His family moved by the time I came back, and my family moved. There was no way. And somehow or other we met. And when we met, I didn't know what to do. When he last saw me, I had long matted hair and I was a little skinny sadhu living in a cave in the Himalayas. And he had long hair and big beard, and he was a little skinny guy just wandering around looking for something spiritual. And this time I had a shaved head and I had saffron robes and I was a Swami. So he didn't recognize me. And he had a gigantic body which was like a mountain of muscles. Thick neck, giant arms, giant chest, and short hair, and clean shaven. I became a Swami, and he became a lawyer. He wanted to, his model was Mahatma Gandhi. After 7 years on the road in third world countries, he wanted to be like Gandhi, and Gandhi was a lawyer, so he went to Chico State University and then Pepperdine College and got his law degree and started practicing law. And after a few years came to the conclusion, this is nothing like Gandhi's life. Being a lawyer in America is a whole different mood. But he was so sick from all his traveling, so while he was in college, he started doing physical fitness, and he ended up a bodybuilding champion. So somebody made him an offer to be a physical trainer in the Malibu gym. And he decided that's more like Gandhi than being a lawyer. Or whatever his reasoning. But he was happy. He was definitely happy doing that. It's not that he couldn't be a lawyer, but that was his choice in life. So when we saw each other, I remember we looked at each other like, what do we have in common? And we spoke, and we started realizing we still had, deep down inside, we had all the same things in common we did when we were traveling together. We were just in very different occupations, different lifestyles. And Gary asked me a question. How is it possible that we could still be friends? We have nothing in common. He said, my whole life is to convince people that if they have a strong, healthy body, that they're going to be happy. And your life is to convince people that they're not their body. So I told him yoga is harmonizing. That the body is a temple of God, because God is within the heart. The soul is part of God, and the Paramatma, the Lord, is seated within the heart of every living being. So the body is a temple. So you teach people how to have very good, strong, healthy, clean temples, and I'll try to teach them what to do inside the temple. And we'll be a team. And he said, yes, we're a team. And since that day, we're a team. Closer than ever before even. So yes, this body is sacred. It's temporary, but it's sacred. And if it's used for a sacred purpose, then we could use it for its real potential. Does that answer your question?